And would the clerk call the roll, please?
Commissioner Look.
Here.
Commissioner Brastad.
Here.
Commissioner West.
Here.
Commissioner Schulte.
Here.
Commissioner Meisner.
Here.
Commissioner Gamache.
Here.
Perfect. And we'll move on then to tax claims and abatements. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Breasted, second by Commissioner West. Any further discussion? We'll have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte. Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
And that motion passes. Next, we'll look for approval of the minutes from the August 13, 2019 County Board meeting. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Commissioner Look, second by Commissioner Meisner. Any additions or deletions or corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? The minutes are adopted. Next, we will, I guess we'll jump back and consider accepting the regular claims paid over $500 and purchase card claims paid for the period ending August 21st of 2019. You all have the claims all in front of you. If there are no questions, I would accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Look,
Second.
second by Commissioner Gamache. Any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? That motion passes. Now we're going to move on to chair's remarks. We do have one item today. It is to recognize everyone who was involved in the planning, fundraising, and construction of the Veterans Memorial at Coon Lake County Park. I'm going to ask Commissioner Brastad to tell us a little more about this project. Commissioner Brastad.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's wonderful now that there's a beautiful Veterans Memorial that greets visitors to the Coon Lake Park who come to the area to fish, enjoy the beach, hike, or have meals at the picnics pavilions. This memorial was the vision of a proud area veteran and his friends who are also military veterans. It came to fruition because of a partnership between Anoka County, the Coon Lake Improvement Association, and the Coon Lake Community and Senior Center. If you haven't seen it yet, I would encourage you to check it out. It's a perfect tribute to our military. Now, Jeff Perry, our Parks Director for Anoka County, will talk about all the work that went into making this project a reality. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Jeff Perry, Park Director for Anoka County. Thank you for the opportunity to provide the county board and the public with a brief overview of this project. This has been a special project. It's located at Coon Lake County Park in the city of Columbus along the east shore of Coon Lake. The memorial itself features a serene venue of 7 flags, including the American flag that's flanked by the 5 service flags and the POW MIA flag. There are 2 benches, 4 very nice interpretive signs honoring the 4 war conflicts, which include World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and the Gulf War, and personalized paver stones in front of a focal point centerpiece monument that reads the following. The community of Coon Lake dedicates this site to show our never-ending appreciation, respect, and gratitude to those that have and will serve in the armed forces of the United States of America and the loved ones who stand by them. Remember those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. With that said, I'll tell you just a brief story about how the project was initiated. The origin of the project started with a United States Navy Korean War veteran by the name of Edward Fiore, who's sitting over here today. He approached Commissioner Brastad with the idea, and over a 2-year period, we got it done. Shortly after the idea came forward, several visioning and planning meetings occurred, and to plan the project and to build the project. And I'd also like to add that Mr. Fiore was born and raised in the Bronx, New York, and he remained very tenacious throughout the project. and I mean tenacious. Long story short, Ed and his team raised an impressive $12,000 to get this project built. This project is a fine example of a government agency working together with the people that we serve here in Anoka County. I'd like to also take an opportunity to thank all the donors, the veterans that I've had the privilege to work with, primarily all of which are sitting here this morning, our talented park staff, you, the county board, for your support to this symbolic project that reminds us all the true sacrifices made by our nation's veterans. Finally, I'd like to especially thank my new friend, Ed, and his fellow veterans for bringing this idea forward and diligently working with the Anoka County team and successfully accomplishing this mission of building this beautiful memorial that sits on the east shore of Coon Lake. With that, Mr. Chair and members, with your permission, I would like to invite Ed to the podium to say a few words. Please. Thank you. Mr. Fiore.
Thank you, Jeff. I'd like to make one correction. I was born in Brooklyn, so I'm a Dodger fan, not a Yankee fan, but that'll be forgiven. This group is a little unusual in that we don't have a chairman. Things just seem to happen. And we all had assignments, so we did as we went along. Nobody had a particular assignment, but as things had to be done, somebody came forward and did it. And I'd like to introduce the group to you, if I may. Joe Morgan, Don Finneran, Dale Voltron, and Rooster Christopher Larson is not here, he has to work. They were all veterans. We found out one thing we didn't have was a treasurer, and none of us are very good with numbers. So we got Al Westfield and Al stand up to volunteer, and none of us are good photographers. So Jane Morgan was kind enough to be a photographer. And I think as a group we worked very, very well together. Some of you may know me, I've been involved in politics just a little bit. And when I walked out of that first meeting we had, I turned around to the group and I said, what happened? Because I have never been to a meeting that was so well received and so enthusiastically received as that day when I met with the park people and several other commissioners. The reception was just fantastic. And the whole project went that way. We had a couple of little bumps and grinds along the way, but we ironed everything out. And I really want to thank the people of Parks and Recreation for working so well with us and making this the site is beautiful in its simplicity, and it's what we wanted. As a token of our appreciation, if I don't break these things. I'd like to present the County Commission with three pictures of the project. It's my hope that one can hang in the District 2 office, one can hang in the District 6 office, and one can go to Parks and Recreation. Jeff, will you view all that? Mr. Chairman, thank you. That's for 2 and 6. And I want to thank the commissioners, especially Julie and Rhonda, for helping us as much as they did. It's been a wonderful project. Probably within the next 2 months we'll fold and go away, and maybe somewhere down the line another veterans group will come along and maybe do the same thing at Lake George or someplace else. But on behalf of myself and all of our members, sincerely, thank you for the cooperation. Thank you for the wonderful job.
Well, thank you so much, Ed, and everybody that participated, and Jeff as well. Your input on how this memorial came together was truly amazing. It's an honor to see all the hard work and dedication come together. And thank you again to all the donors, veterans, county staff, and my fellow commissioners for your involvement in this project. Before we move on to the rest of our agenda today, I'd like to remind the public that there is still an opportunity to purchase pavers for the memorial that can be inscribed in honor or memory of veterans to recognize their service to our country. Each laser engraved paver is 4 inches by 8 inches and costs $95. The request form for the pavers can be obtained by visiting anokacounty.us and searching memorial pavers. Any additional questions on the pavers can be directed to our Anoka County Parks Department at 763-324-3300. And again, thank you everyone who was involved. And these beautiful plaques mean the world to us. We will hang them in our offices and every day be reminded of the wonderful partnership that was made. So thank you again.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Brasted, and Jeff, thank you for your work in the Parks Division leading through this, and certainly special thanks to the veterans who were there to put this together, particularly Ed, thank you. It does remind me of something that happened to me. About 2 years ago, I learned that Honor Flights Minnesota started extending honor flights to Korean War vets because the World War II vets were quickly passing. And so they extended their process to Korean War vets. So I quickly signed up my father 2 years ago, who was a Korean War vet, and signed up as his liaison on the flight, and was just notified last week, or a week and a half ago, that he was accepted and that we'll be going out November 2nd. So it's a great reminder. You'll be on that one too, Ed. Excellent. We'll travel together. I think it's a great reminder for anybody that has connections to those Korean War vets to sign up and take advantage of the honor flight. And for those that are unaware, that's a quick one-day turnaround flight. You get on a plane early in the morning, you fly to Washington, D.C., and they take you on a whirlwind tour of all the memorials, and you get to see some history in Washington, D.C. And it's a pretty exciting time. I'm looking forward to it, and I know my father's looking forward to it. And just a reminder for all vets out there that keep an eye on that, see if you can get registered, see if you can get out to D.C. while everybody's still alive, and enjoy the history you helped preserve. With that, thank you very much. It does conclude our chair's reports for today, and now we'll move on to our committee reports. We'll start with Commissioner West for the Management Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and my information is all information. There are no action items, so that concludes my report.
Commissioner West. We will then move on to the Transportation Committee Chair Report. We did have a meeting on August 19th here in the Government Center at 9 o'clock. We did not reach a quorum. On our committees of 4, we need at least 3 members present to get a quorum, and we had 2 members present. So we did go over every item, talked at length about them, and I will present them here to you today for your action. First, under Highway, I would recommend that, as the chair of the committee, I would recommend the approval of a resolution adopting the Anoka County Highway System Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, transition plan for public highway rights-of-way. Is there a motion to approve?
Move it.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
And there's a second by Commissioner Gamache. I would just remind everybody, this is a very, very long process, long-term process. Years ago, the ADA was passed, and it required highway divisions across the country to make their highway systems come in compliance with ADA. Mostly that means sidewalks and pedestrian ramps at roadways. And so we've put together a plan to make sure that we come into compliance with federal law and make sure that we're on the right track. We're no further behind or not much further ahead than every other agency across the country. This is pretty standard happenstance. It's just where we're at in the process. Any further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That will pass unanimously. Next, as the chair of the committee, I recommend approval of a resolution dissolving the North Metro I-35W Corridor Coalition. Is there a motion to approve?
I will move it.
Motion by Commissioner West. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Look. Any discussion? Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is clearly before my time, but just acknowledgement of the work that was succeeded with this coalition, and that's it. So thank you all for doing the work for many years and getting the goals met.
And I would say with that, the pain you're feeling currently on 35W as you come off of Highway 10 over in Mounds View in that area is because of this coalition. And that doesn't sound right when you say the pain you're feeling is causing it. But, it's exactly what it is. It's there's no pain, no gain, and this will be for a very large gain for Anoka County. And it was part of being part of that coalition that got this done. Commissioner West.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I have sat on the coalition since I came onto the county board, and it felt like it was never going to happen. But one of the first things that happened from the coalition is that they've made an entrance ramp from Lake Drive, or from 95th directly onto Highway 10. Totally changed the morning commute there. Really, really a great accomplishment. And then now I drive 35W Fairmount, not during rush hour usually, and they're doing a wonderful job of keeping that open to traffic. You know, it's not as miserable as I thought it would be. So I look forward to the end of 2 years.
Well, thank you, Commissioner West. From somebody who does drive it regularly during rush hour, I assure you that don't get used to what it's like because it changes almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
They shift traffic, they move lanes. Just the trick is be patient, keep your eyes open, stay aware, mind the hands-free law, and we'll get through this together.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner West.
I was commenting to my husband last night. We had to, or was in the late morning, and I was driving. I says, you cannot be distracted when you're driving this thing because you're just this far away from the cement or the other car.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, we will officially dissolve the I-35W Corridor Coalition. Next, as the chair, I recommend approval of a resolution authorizing entry into the Minnesota Department of Transportation cooperative agreement with the Minnesota Department of Transportation and the City of Columbus for the reconstruction of Hornsby Street from 300 feet south of Trunk Highway 97 to 1,500 feet north of Highway 97, and from 1,100 feet east of I-35 to 2,600 feet east of I-35. And authorizing the chair of the Anoka County Board and the county administrator to execute said agreement subject to review by county attorney as to form and legality. That last sentence I won't read from now on, just assume it's in there. So with that, I would entertain a motion or an offer of the resolution.
I'll offer it.
The resolution has been offered by Commissioner Brasted. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Next, we'll move on to item 4. As the chair of the committee, I recommend approval of a purchase of service contract with WSB Engineering in the amount of $364,789.21 for the design and permitting services for the reconstruction of Bunker Lake Boulevard at the intersection of Trunk Highway 47 in the cities of Anoka and Ramsey. Is there a motion to
So moved.
approve? Motion to approve by Commissioner Look, second by Commissioner Gamache. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, this is a
Mr. Chair.
roll call vote.
Mr. Chair,
Oh, Commissioner Look?
I'll just comment on this. We know of the work that is going to be commencing on Highway 10 in 2022, and this is a project that we're trying to advance because Bunker Lake Boulevard will become our new Highway 10, I think, in terms of people trying to get through and access their homes and get to work and that sort of thing. So the ability to advance this project, I think, is critical. The dollars that we received through the federal solicitation is, I think, going to be critical as well in trying to get this funded. And I think it ultimately kind of brings, awareness to 47 and in this particular intersection and some of the difficulties we're having in this area in terms of congestion and people trying to get to and from, especially with the high school during those times. So this will be a wonderful improvement, and look forward to completing this and helping folks get to where they need to get to. So, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Look, and I will just piggyback on that to say we're looking at a number of routes through Anoka County that we need to improve in the short term to be that safety valve for the Highway 10 construction in 22 and 23. Not the least of which would be the expansion of a third lane on Highway 10, and of course this project up at the Oxbow Bridge over the Rum River. Further discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
And that passes. Next, item 5, as the chair of the committee, I recommend approval to enter into a joint powers agreement with the City of Columbus for the reconstruction of Hornsby Street with all the same measurements I gave you last time in that same area. We won't repeat all that. And I'm looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Brassad, second by Commissioner West. Further discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Meisner, Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye. And that passes. Next, we will, the chair of the committee, myself, recommends approval to enter into a joint powers agreement with the City of Blaine for the installation of a traffic control signal at the intersection of Lexington Avenue Northeast and Woodland Parkway Northeast in the City of Blaine. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner West,
Second.
second by Commissioner Brassad. Further discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner West?
This is, we've talked about this before, but there's been lots of near accidents in this. I think there's been accidents and near accidents, so this is very important and overdue.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Gamache?
Thank you. Just a question for Doug. Is this going to be a light that will have the flashing yellow turns on it?
Mr. Chair, County Board members, my name is Doug Fisher, Transportation Division Manager and County Engineer. Yes, all our signals, are fully traffic actuated. They will have the flashing yellow arrow functions. Because it's a brand new signal, and we've never had one there before, I will say that the hours of that flashing yellow operation will be limited. But once the signal's been operating, we have a chance to review, see if there have been any additional accidents caused by the signals. Signals cure some issues, they can cause other issues, so we'll operate it kind of conservatively, but over the course of time, we will expand that window of operation of the flashing yellow arrow as is appropriate.
Thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
And that passes. Commissioner?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. I do have a question. I'm just curious about the rollout with the new signal. So anytime that there's a new signal, you started out with a red light and then, like you're saying, kind of determined for people to get used to the fact that there's a signal light there in the first place, and then roll out the yellow light or yellow flashing arrow, depending on how that is going with your data.
Doug?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Meisner, the flashing yellow arrow will be operational from day one,
Yep.
but you may see it only from like 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., really the non-traffic times. And then we start expanding the hours of operation, or we do a midday operation. Ultimately, we'll only be in a protective turn mode during the AM rush hour and the PM rush hour. But to start off,
Right.
it's very conservative. We just want people to get used to the signal
Yep.
and how that operates, and then we'll advance as the data allows us to expand the operation of the flashing yellow arrow.
Yeah, thank you.
You do. Next, we'll move on to item 7. As the chair of the committee, I recommend approval of a contract to Forest Lake Contracting for the full traffic signal installation and right turn lane construction at the intersection of Lexington Avenue and Woodland Parkway Northeast in the city of Blaine. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
Motion by Commissioner West,
Second.
second by Commissioner Brasted. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, it's a roll call vote.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brasted.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
And that motion passes. I will point out under the informational items that we did discuss the budget for the Transportation Committee for 2020. In our last meeting, they brought forward the possibility of 4 new employees, 2 in the engineering division and 2 in the, which division is the other 2?
2 positions in our maintenance, equipment operator positions, and 2 positions in our engineering group, both design and construction inspection.
Thank you. And some of those are paid through state aid funds, some through the direct county levy. But that was brought forward at our last meeting. The rest is there for your information. And next, we'll move on to the Finance and Capital Improvements Committee report. Commissioner Look.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Finance and Capital Improvements Committee met on August 20th. I was not there, but Commissioner Brasted and yourself, Commissioner Schulte, handled the committee well and came away with 3 action items. The first is that the committee recommends the county board approve contract C007156 with Perfection Plus Incorporated out of Minneapolis for cleaning services and 9 library buildings for November 2019 through October 2020 for an annual cost of $135,858.60 and with 4 additional 12-month renewal opportunities on that. So pretty straightforward.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Meisner. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gamache. Is there further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Brasted.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
And that passes. Next.
Mr. Chair, the second item is the committee recommends the county board approve contract C007326 with Cool Air Mechanical out of Ham Lake for the installation of hot water boilers at the Rum River College Campus Cottage 9 for $129,625 plus a $20,000 contingency for asbestos abatement. As you know, the cottages right now are run by a very large inefficient boiler system that costs a lot of money to maintain. And so it's been part of an ongoing plan to make the cottages independent of each other with their own boilers. And this is for one boiler. It's a 2-stage boiler and kind of starts this process of conversion, which will ultimately then allow us to decommission the large boiler, large inefficient boiler that is amazing if no one has seen, but worked in its day and currently doesn't work today. So.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
Motion by Commissioner Look. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gamache. Further discussion? Commissioner Meisner.
Yeah, just probably all of us have seen the tunnels. I have seen them recently, and the expanse of pipes with the current system is extremely inefficient. So I'm very excited that this is going on, that a new boiler is coming. So yes, that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Look.
Just to clarify, when I say that the old boiler doesn't work today, it doesn't work financially today in terms of efficiencies, but it certainly works. I don't think we have to heat those tunnels at all. It's so the heat is pouring out of there, and so, anyways, this is going to be a much more efficient system for at least Cottage 9 and other cottages as we address those. So,
As you refer to that, Commissioner Look, if you remember being there in the winter, above all the tunnels is completely melted away. No matter how much snow we get, you can always tell where the tunnels are because there's no snow, because that heat emanates right straight up through the ground. Any further comments? Seeing none, all those, now we'll do a roll call vote.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache. Aye. Commissioner Look.
aye.
Commissioner Brasted.
Aye.
And that motion passes. Item 3.
Mr. Chair, item 3 is the committee recommends the county board adopt a revised resolution 2019-F4 delegating authority to review and pay claims to the Finance and Central Services Division Manager. You'll remember we passed this on the last board meeting. Unfortunately, there was a technical error on there which will require a revote. If you go to the actual item on here, the resolution, it's the fourth resolution down, is currently being added, which is now therefore be it resolved that the Anoka County Board of Commissioners delegates its authority to review and pay claims to the Finance and Central Services Division Manager in a manner that meets its established standards and procedures. So that one is the different paragraph from the prior resolution that we passed. And so, being that I believe our attorney's office required that that component be in there, we're bringing it back for a revote, and I don't know that it's changing anything at all. It's just adding appropriate language. So, with that, I'll offer that resolution or approve the motion.
Resolution has been offered by Commissioner Look. Is there further discussion? I would just comment, thank you to our county attorney for bringing this to light and helping us make sure we conduct our meetings in a legal and proper fashion. And, sometimes as commissioners, we're elected officials, and we rely on our attorneys to point us in the right direction. We thank you for that.
Chair, thank you.
With that, we will have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte? Commissioner Meisner?
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache?
Aye.
Commissioner Look?
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad?
Aye.
Commissioner West?
Aye.
And that motion passes.
Mr. Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Look. That does take us to the Human Services Committee report, and Commissioner Brassad.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The committee met on August 20th, and we have quite a few items here. The first, under the consent agenda, we just have one item, and that is the committee recommends the county board enter into the maternal child health grant project agreement, 5-year renewal with the Minnesota Department of Health in an amount of $271,909.66 from October 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2020. And I'll move that.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Meiser. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Meisner?
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache?
Aye.
Commissioner Look?
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad?
Aye.
Commissioner West?
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte?
Aye. Next, item 2.
The committee recommends that the board seek authorization to solicit competitive bids through a request for proposal for home electronic monitoring and remote alcohol testing services. This is for our Community Corrections Department. And our current agreement expires on December 31st, 2019. And there is a lot of competition now in this market, so that we're hoping that we can perhaps get an even better deal and have a vendor selected and a new contract executed by January 1st, 2020.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Meiser. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner West. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That will pass unanimously. On to item 3.
Consider recommending the county board enter into a household hazardous waste reciprocal use agreements, use joint power agreement for Anoka, Carver, Dakota, Hennepin, Ramsey, Scott, and Washington counties from January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2024.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Look. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Brassad. Is there further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Gamache?
Aye.
Commissioner Look?
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad?
Aye.
Commissioner West?
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte?
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner?
Aye.
And that passes. Next item.
Consider recommending the county board accept the 2020 SCORE, which is the Select Committee on Recycling and the Environment, and LRDG, Local Recycling Development Grant funding from the state of Minnesota to support the municipal recycling program. So this is, the county receives funding and we spread it out to our cities and our township to conduct their own recycling in their cities. And I will move that.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
And second by Commissioner Meisner. Further discussion. Commissioner Look.
Mr. Chair, I just want to comment on this. I sit on the Solid Waste Advisory Abatement Task Force, I think it's what it stands for, SWAT, and I'm really impressed with the various different cities that have used these dollars to build their recycling programs and the excitement that they have behind it. I mean, we tour some of these, even Linwood Township, very small. I've never seen more excitement on their behalf to try and establish these programs and provide these services for the residents. But people often aren't sure where to drop things off, and when a city has a coordinated effort like this, I know the city of Coon Rapids is, I think, leading the charge on this, and Ramsey does a great job, and other cities do as well. But certainly, it's something that is environmentally conscious and responsible, and we can then direct some of these recyclables to their proper locations rather than a landfill, which I think is probably not the best and highest use for these. So I just want to give a shout out to the communities that are doing a fantastic job on this.
Thank you, Commissioner Look. And I will echo your comments. Coming from Coon Rapids and having been there on their council for 12 or 13 years, I can tell you that the SCORE grants, every year we look forward to and planned studiously how to spend those dollars to benefit the community. And because of that, Coon Rapids has a very robust recycling program. And that's not downplaying any other community in the county, because I know everybody works hard for these dollars, and I think Anoka County works hard in making sure that these grants are written properly and then the money's disseminated properly. So an important state program, really. Both SCORE and LRDG are both important. Further discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Look. Aye. Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
And that motion passes. Next item.
The committee recommends the county board adopt resolution 2019-HS-15, which is the list of the economic assistance bills. And I'll offer that resolution.
The resolution has been offered. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
And that passes. Item B.
Committee recommends the adoption of resolution 2019-HS-16, which is accepting gift for human services. And this is a donation made by an organization called Operation No Limits. And they are this year donating a greenhouse to the Anoka County Juvenile Center for the residents to learn about environmental and gardening and such. And this group has been very generous in the past with their donations. So I'll offer the resolution.
The resolution has been offered. Is there further discussion? Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, in regards to that, this is great because they have already a garden, and so this greenhouse will essentially allow them to continue those skills and those experiences throughout the winter months. So, yes.
Further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
And that passes.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Breasted. Next, we'll jump into the Information Technology Committee report. Commissioner Gamache.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The IT committee met on Monday, August 19th. We have 2 action items for the board this morning. The first one is the IT committee recommends the county board approve a purchase from Insight Public Sector for the replacement of 97 network switches in the amount of $344,758.16. A network switch is a device that connects devices, computers, printers, phones, wireless access points, etc., together on a computer network. And a network switch enables devices to talk to each other efficiently. Of the county's 202 network switches, 97 are reaching the end of support in 2020. Due to the age and the outdated technology, we are looking to replace those. The network switches are in use 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so you can see the importance of those switches every single day of the week. And that includes the most important things with emergency services, those types of things. So this is before us today. Susan Breedland is here. And Susan, did you want to add anything to this? This is a rather important item that we need to purchase.
It is, Mr. Chair and members of the County Board. Good morning. I'm Susan Vreel. I'm the Director of Information Technology. This is an important purchase. It's a large one. It's significant. When you think of the timeline, 7 years doesn't seem like a long time, but these do run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Even when these buildings are closed and nobody's here working, they're kind of doing their thing, so it's important we replace them in time. This was a planned capital purchase. We do this a couple years in advance to get ready for it, and a lot of this work is done at night and on the weekend, so we have to be very planful about when we do it. With certain technologies, we're very particular about the brand, but we're not, we're kind of vendor independent, so we're not very particular about where we buy the products. So we do a lot of work in advance as we're working with purchasing as it relates to where can we get the biggest bang for our buck. And in this case, we did a whole lot of searching with a number of vendors, and we saved a little under $50,000 on this investment. So again, a big purchase, but we did save some money on this investment.
Thank you, Susan, and I'll move it.
There is a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Meisner. I would just comment that for those out there hearing the word switch, thinking light switch or a small switch, these are the sizes, say, a 1980s VCR. You know, if you want to picture what they are, with lots of electronics inside. So it's not your typical little switch. This is a big device. Further discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye. Aye.
Commissioner Meisner. Aye. Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Look. Aye. Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
And that passes. Next item.
The next item, Mr. Chair, is the Information Technology Committee recommends the County Board approve contract number C0007189 related to a memo of understanding between the county and the Joint Law Enforcement Council for the use of county fiber for system redundancy purposes. We have been working with JLLEC for, forever. Our IT department has worked collaboratively with them to ensure the Public Safety Data System, PSDS, is successful in the mission to providing services to all the citizens of Anoka County. And now we're using, and I'll let Susan get a little bit more technical on it, but now we're using some of that fiber for redundancy to backup systems. Is that correct, Susan?
That's correct. Members of the County Board, we have worked with the JLEC in the past and given them use of some of our county-owned fiber. We have fiber that we own, not part of Connect Anoka County, between this site and another site that we have some data equipment in. The JLEC has data equipment at that site. And the fiber we're not using that benefits them for the purpose of backup of their system. They would like to use a little bit more of that fiber to kind of complete sort of a ring. So if that initial strand of fiber gets cut, they've got redundancy. Clearly we cannot have the public safety data system down. In return for that, there's some equipment they need to purchase that we can take advantage of the use of. So it's kind of a win-win for both the JLEC and the county. So it's another example of a great partnership with them. We're not charging the JLEC for this. They're not charging us for the use of any of that equipment. So it's just kind of the MOU is sort of a formality behind that handshake agreement.
Thank you. And this is obviously important because of its redundancy. So it's backup for the system that we currently have in case something happens.
Definitely. An example, Commissioner, would be if the utility company is out there and they bore into the ground and there's a fiber cut. Well, that would clearly be, they would be down. This redundancy will prevent that.
And I'll move it.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Meisner. Further discussion?
If I can, Mr. Chair, in my other role as Chair of the Joint Law Enforcement Council, I want to express appreciation to the County Board for its cooperation in this. This particular fiber will run between the Government Center and the Sheriff's Office, is that correct?
That is correct.
So that will be the connection. And what it does is it allows for security in the event, as Susan has discussed, but it's extremely important for our 911 communication, for all the public safety communications throughout. If there should be a disaster, we have to have a backup plan, and the Joint Law Enforcement Council is very appreciative of the fact that the county has allowed them to basically hitchhike on its fiber which is not being used. So I do want to, on behalf of the joint law, express its appreciation for the county board's action today.
Thank you, Mr. Palumbo. I would further comment just that this is mutually advantageous. It helps Anoka County, and it helps the Public Safety Data, the Joint Law Enforcement Council operate its public safety data system, which benefits Anoka County. So it is truly mutually beneficial. Further discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Look, Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye. And that passes.
The other item, Mr. Chair, is informational, but I do want to bring it up. It was discussed on some of what Anoka County does in sharing some of the technology that we have with our fellow counties, and we have regular efforts going on across Minnesota counties. So I want to thank the staff for all the work that they do. Some of these we've created ourselves, and a lot of them we've created ourselves, and then we share it with other counties to save money and add efficiencies at their counties. And I just want to thank the staff for all the great work that they do every single day. We seem to be on the cutting edge sometimes, and it's kind of nice to see, and then also share with our fellow counties. So thank the staff again for that, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Gamache. Commissioner Meisner.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to kind of piggyback on just your commentary, would you mind sharing the project that you guys just did? And I apologize for not knowing the exact name of it, but it was your staff members were there at 1:30 in the morning to do a conversion and worked really hard, and it was pretty seamless. Would you just share that for just really quickly for the public, just as an example of the work that you guys do every day?
Certainly, Commissioner. So one of our other large projects that we had planned for this year is the replacement of our network firewalls. And if you compare that to kind of the human body, it's sort of like the heart transplant. So it is the core of the county's network. Again, we had planned for it for a couple of years. We relied on a particular brand of technology for several years, and staff were kind of like, well, maybe we need to look at a completely different technology stack. So that was an enormous amount of work. We did go with a different brand. We don't disclose that publicly due to security concerns, but it was a major switch in how we, pardon the pun, switch, a major change in how we implement that technology. And so we've been working with a vendor since June to plan how we do that. We did have to bring in some professional services to help with that, which is not our norm, but this was an enormous effort. Staff came in at 1:30 in the morning last Saturday to get the process started. It's a big deal. Our squad cars don't have connectivity. I mean, everything stops. We anticipated being done around 8 a.m. We finished at 10 in the morning. A couple little hiccups afterwards, but those were corrected quickly, but it was a really big effort. Sugar and coffee always help. We keep the morale high, but they did an incredible job. And it was a huge effort. We were successful.
Right. Thank you.
Terrific. And that concludes the IT report, I assume?
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
No, very good. And we will move on
Thank
now
you.
to the Public Safety Committee Chair report. Commissioner Brassad.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would recommend approval and execution of a memorandum of understanding for the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Grant. It's a Department of Justice grant that will be flowing through the county to the city of Coon Rapids in the amount of $12,325. And I'll offer that. I'll move that.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Gamache. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
And that passes.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Brassad. We'll move on to item 9A on our agenda, which is to consider approving a liquor license application to the Stacy's Lion Club for their 3-2 malt liquor license for September 7th of 2019. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Brassad. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gamache. Is there further discussion? Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is a one-day, right, license, and then typically for a fundraising type of effort is usually the, okay, thank you.
Yes, this is an annual request. Because it's a township, it has to come to the county board for approval as opposed to the cities that can do it on their own. This is the one that would come
Got
to
it,
us.
thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? And that will pass unanimously. Next, we will consider a number of committee appointments, 10A through 10E. First, we'll consider appointing or reappointing the following individuals to the Community Corrections Advisory Board. Appointing Morgan White Rabbit, representing District 5, for a term ending August 2021. Reappointing Don Jonas, representing District 7, for a term ending September 2021. And then item B, we'll consider reappointing Clinton Maxon, representing Hospitals Emergency Preparedness, to the Emergency Medical Services Council for a 3-year term expiring September 30th of 2022. Then we'll consider appointing Nicole Herlovsky, representing mental health professionals, to the Children's and Mental Health Advisory and Coordination Council for a 3-year term ending August 31st of 2022. And then item D, consider appointing Angie Kraus, representing correction staff, to the Adult Mental Health Advisory Committee for a 3-year term ending August 31st of 2022. And then lastly, consider for informational purposes, actually, let's do 10A through D on a vote, and we'll go beyond then for the last item. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. So moved.
There's a motion by Commissioner Breasted, second by Commissioner Meisner, to approve the appointments listed in item 10A through 10D. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Meisner?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just commentary about these advisory boards. These are mandated by the state, but it is so valuable. I mean, the county really is about your own backyard, and to have members of community in different professions, different backgrounds, is extremely valuable for all of us to help guide our decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comment? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And no one's opposed. That's unanimous. And then lastly, just for informational purposes, you can see here that we have 2 individuals appointed to the Anoka County Workforce Development Board for a 2-year term expiring June 30th of 2021. They are Jaquel Hyder from the Anoka County Economic Development Department. She's our specialist here. And then we'll be reappointing Kurt Jasper from Ajax Metal Forming Solutions and Paul Johnson from Aggressive Hydraulics. So those 3 appointments are for your informational purposes to the Workforce Board. If there's nothing else to come before the board, we are adjourned. Thank you. And the HRA